Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Have you ever felt like your own mind is just working against you? Like you're totally stuck in a loop of unhelpful habits and anxieties? Well, you are in the right place. Today, we're taking a fascinating dive right into the architecture of your own thoughts to see how mastering your internal narrative is the absolute key to transforming your reality. There is this powerful ancient idea from the Buddha that anchors everything we're going to talk about today. Your thoughts are the literal architects of your reality. They completely shape your perceptions, your emotions, and your actions. You see, you aren't just a passive observer in your life. You're the creator, and the blueprint is written entirely by the way you think. Cultivating a conscious mindset isn't just some nice self-help idea. It's absolutely essential for living a purposeful life.
To make these massive concepts actually actionable, we're going to follow a 5-part roadmap today. Mindfulness in the present, the science of habits, adopting a Stoic mindset, connection and compassion, and finally, psychology and finding meaning. It's an inside-out progression, starting deep in your own mind and expanding outward.
Let's jump right into Section 1, Mindfulness and the Present. We're beginning at the very center of your existence. You know how our minds constantly betray us? When we dwell on the past, we just breed regret over things we literally can't change anymore. And when we obsess over the future, we generate all this anxiety over things we can't even completely control yet. Eckhart Tolle hit the nail on the head when he said, "The past is just a collection of old present moments, and the future is just present moments yet to come. Action and life can only ever happen in the now." Let's look at this incredible metaphor called the two darts. Think about the unavoidable pain life throws at us. Stubbing your toe or facing a really tough rejection. That is the first dart. You can't control it. But that second dart, that is the totally optional suffering we inflict on ourselves by dwelling on the pain, getting angry about it, or obsessing over it for months. You have to endure the pain, for sure, but you can end the suffering by simply choosing not to throw that second dart into your own chest. Moving on to Section 2, the science of habits. How do we actually take that present moment awareness and build it into a system of daily behaviors? Behavioral expert James Clear makes an absolutely crucial point here. We often think success requires these massive, exhausting, overnight overhauls. Actually, scratch that. It's way simpler. It's about tiny, consistent 1% improvements. Every single action you take is just a vote for the type of person you wish to become. You don't need radical change. You just need small, daily votes in the right direction. So how do we make those tiny votes stick? Enter the habit loop. This is basically your brain's neurological blueprint. It starts with a cue that triggers your brain, followed by a craving or a desire to act. Then comes the response, which is the habit itself, and finally the reward that satisfies you. If you want to build a good habit, you've got to make the cue obvious and the response easy. Want to break a bad habit? Hide the cue and make the response incredibly difficult. If you want to put this into immediate practice today, steal Robin Sharma's 20-20-20 morning formula. And no, it's not a vision test. Basically, you dedicate the very first hour of your day to 3 things. 20 minutes of exercise to get those endorphins pumping, 20 minutes of reflection or meditation to drop your stress levels, and 20 minutes of learning to build massive momentum. It's a simple routine, but consistency here will make you feel totally unstoppable. All right, Section 3, adopting a Stoic mindset. We've got our habits locked in, so now we need to fortify our mental defenses against the chaos of the outside world. Have you ever found yourself completely derailed by something totally outside of your control, like a delayed flight or a sudden change of plans? When we get angry at these things, we are essentially throwing that second dart of suffering right back at ourselves. All psychological pain really just stems from a resistance to the things we are powerless to change. To stop that automatic resistance, we've got to look under the hood at our psychology. We have 2 operating systems in our brain. System 1 is fast, intuitive, and highly emotional. It's great for quickly dodging a speeding car, but terrible for replying to a passive-aggressive email from your boss. We have to train our System 2, which is slow, deliberate, and analytical, to step in, evaluate the situation logically, and stop our emotions from hijacking our decisions. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus figured this out thousands of years before modern psychology was even a thing. He urged us to completely detach our peace of mind from external events. As he famously said, we must cease worrying about things beyond the power of our will. True freedom is realizing that the absolute most valuable thing you possess is your own mind, and you are the only one who controls it. To actually build this kind of Stoic resilience, emotionally strong people practice 4 key habits. First, they control their attention, not necessarily their emotions. They let the feelings happen, but choose where to focus. Second, they use compassionate self-talk instead of harsh criticism. Third, they make decisions based on their core values, not their fleeting feelings. And finally, they set and enforce healthy boundaries. Being emotionally strong doesn't mean you don't feel bad. It just means you know how to respond in a healthy way.
This brings us to Section 4, Connection and Compassion. With a highly resilient mind, we can safely expand our focus outward to how we interact with others.
According to Zen Buddhism, true connection isn't just about finding an attractive mate. It requires us to actively cultivate 4 specific traits: joy, equanimity, compassion, and loving kindness. It's a two-way street of understanding and healing. It literally means blurring the lines between yourself and another person so that you can genuinely comprehend what they're going through and use your mindfulness to bring them joy.
But here's a massive distinction we have to make to truly connect with the world. We need to stop chasing fleeting sensory pleasure, like mindlessly scrolling social media or buying things we don't need, and instead actively seek enjoyment. Enjoyment requires deep focus, conscious engagement, and puts us in a state of flow, where our challenges and our skills perfectly match. That is where deep, lasting satisfaction actually lives.
We also have to keep our guard up against social pressures because people are constantly pulling psychological levers to manipulate us. Marketers use reciprocity to make us feel guilty, scarcity to induce panic buying, social proof so we just blindly follow the crowd, and authority to make us comply. By understanding these tactics, your System 2 brain can step back and make a rational choice instead of getting emotionally swept away.
Finally, we reach Section 5, Psychology and Finding Meaning. This is the outermost layer of our explainer today, where all these internal thoughts and actions come together.
This leads us to a profoundly moving realization from psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl. He lived through the absolute darkest, most horrific circumstances imaginable. And he realized that even when literally every physical freedom is stripped away, your internal narrative remains entirely yours to control. Meaning isn't something that just magically happens to you. It's a choice you make and a responsibility you have to take for your own existence.
So as we wrap up this explainer today, armed with better mindfulness, solid habits, a resilient Stoic mindset, and the power to deeply connect with others, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought. We know your thoughts are the literal architects of your reality. So what meaning are you choosing to create with your thoughts today? Take a step back, pay attention to that internal narrative, and start building.